Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Yes, sir. Myself, Jayanti from department, sir.
Hi, Jayanti.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Shall we start the meeting, sir?
Sure, we can start.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Sure, sir.
Students are
Um,
somewhere in
Good
the hall.
morning, all. So here I welcome Mr. Shivaramakrishnan from third year EC department for welcome this chief guest.
Jayanti, I mean, is there assembled on a room or something?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I can't see any video, so that's what I was asking.
Okay, sir.
Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to each and every one of you to this esteemed gathering today. We are truly honored to have your distinguished guest with us, Mr. K. Magesh, who has graced us with his presence of our chief guest for this special occasion. Mr. K. Magesh is an accomplished individual who has achieved remarkable success in his professional journey. He has completed his undergraduate studies at a renowned National Engineering College, Kovilpatti, from 1995 batch as a mechanical department student where he laid a foundation in his technical expertise. A product management leader with Oracle's product development organization, during the 21 years stint with Oracle Corporation, developed several flagship products for the global market, early design and development of many AI and machine learning solutions. A technical enthusiast who reads, writes, blogs, and does everything about latest technology. Today, we are fortunate to have Mr. K. Magesh here with us, not only as a successful professional, but also as a embodiment of perseverance, dedication, and lifelong learning. His presence among us is a testament to the power of knowledge, importance of personal growth, and positive impact. We can have he's here to share his experiences. On behalf of everyone present here, I extend my deepest gratitude to Mr. K. Magesh for accepting our invitation and gracing this event with his presence. We eagerly look forward to hear his valuable insights, which will be undoubtedly inspire us and motivate us all. Thank you once again, and we welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Siva. Thank you for the kind words and welcome. Yeah. Um, so, this is not going to be a monologue session. I mean, I don't believe in a monologue session. It will be completely interactive. So I'm here to share whatever I know, and I would request each one of you share your views as well, and if you have any comments on any of the topics that we are going to discuss, and jointly solve any questions or the problems that during the session. Okay, and it's going to be completely interactive. I mean, that's my request. Okay. Um, Firstly, like to understand how many of you are familiar with the AI, meaning, I mean, you have written some programs in machine learning, and how many of you already know or learned about it? If not mastered, at least a decent part of it. How many of you? Jayanti, is there a assembly? I mean, can you see a video of people in a hall or something? Want to see at least in the audience how many of you already know about it and things like that. Can I see a video of the hall?
Sir, I will arrange for that. So within 5 minutes, I will make it, sir.
Okay, fine.
Okay, sir.
Maybe we'll just continue. I mean, then we can see, because I wanted to discuss with each of them, so it will be interactive.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Wait, and please stop me whenever you have any questions or doubts, right? The reason I'm saying is, if you want to speak in Tamil, I'm fine with that too. No question is silly question. Any questions, any doubts, you may something which I may not know, right? So just feel free to ask any questions and stop me and ask any questions, okay? Um, so while she arranges, let me quickly get started with a few things. Um, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Um, let's cover these topics. I mean, try to cover as many as possible. I'll try to align this with more industrial focus rather than giving an academic stuff, because there are a lot of resources available for you to learn academically, electives, books, and internet resources, right? So I'd like to give some kind of business acumen and to see how best we can talk about the industrial use cases for AI and things like that. Okay. Um, to start with, let's talk about what is an AI, and then the evolving landscapes, like what are the real world problems that AI is trying to solve, right? And some fundamentals, um, and some little advanced topics like neural networks, deep learning, larger language models, NLP, and things like that. Okay, and the software architecture and MLOps, and what are the trends, the latest trends in machine learning and AI, right? Then robotics, a quick discussion about robotics, and then let's see what are the career opportunities, and also let's discuss about the learning path. How what are the resources that you can use for learning and mastering AI. Okay. um, and let me see if we can show some quick program and see quick project, AML project that will motivate you to create something. Okay. And finally Q&A. And but don't wait for Q&A. If you have any questions on any of these topics, just stop me and ask. Okay. um, okay, what is AI? It's actually how machines differ from us. Yeah, I can see now your video. Let me make it bigger. Give me a sec. Give me a second. I'm trying to align my windows. Thanks, Jayanti. Arranged it. I can see guys now. Yeah. Yeah. So how machines differ from humans, right? So we have certain cognitive skills. Okay. Um, these skills, uh, thanks to those skills, we learn something and try to apply that knowledge in two things: one, decision making, and second, prediction. Okay. So we are trying to do the same thing with machines as well. Okay. We make the machine learning, make the machine learn and get predictions and decisions out of it. Okay. We impart that knowledge, we make the machine learn and get the predictions, because computers, machines have immense power, right? I mean, they have computing power is very good, right? So that's the reason we try to impart that knowledge and get the benefit out of it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was asking a question, prior to the start. So, how many of you, are familiar with the machine learning? You've done, at least maybe some kind of programs in machine learning. How many of you have already done it? Can you maybe raise your hands? Okay. Okay, I can see Guru Rashni has raised her hand. Okay. Okay. Okay, I can see if them all online can do that. All right. And how many of you have heard about it, um, but not that much? Okay. And how many are you completely new to machine learning? Okay. It's actually a mixed bag. So let me try to cover the basics and also little advanced topics, right? So so that everyone can understand and relate. Okay. Yeah, coming back to the artificial intelligence, right? So it's a technology where we try to import knowledge and get the predictions out of it. And what is machine learning? Machine learning is actually a subset of a subset of subset of artificial intelligence, where it is meant to perform a specific task within AI. Okay. Um, a program, which again is a learning set of data that we feed, and then get the predictions or classification, or meant for doing a specific task. Is a subset of AI. Deep learning, advanced machine learning, where you do try to mimic our neurons in the brain, and can be used for advanced um, uh, complex advanced problems. Okay, that's about deep learning. Okay, now let's talk about some real world use cases where AI is used in our daily right. Um, how many of you have used the AI behind the scene? Maybe it doesn't mean that you write a program and use it for your use. It may be a tool or application which behind the scene is AI. Okay. Don't say that you have not used it, because now nobody can escape. I mean, everybody would be using AI and machine learning in one or the other forms, right? Or if you think, I mean, I'm guessing that this could be an AI behind the scene, machine learning behind the scene. Okay, how many of you? I want few examples that this is the application that I have used, and what it is. I want few examples from each one of you.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, Veena.
Sir, myself, Veena from EC department.
Yeah, Veena.
Sir, I'm having one doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Why we have to use AI in our real life? Because even a human can also do their work by themselves itself. Because of AI, the humans are becoming lazy day by day. Already, humans become lazy with the help of machines and with the help of many other things. Nowadays, if AI means it it makes a human more and more lazy only. So our day-to-day life we can able to done by human itself. No, why we need help of AI?
Good question. Um, so, like I said, humans have their own, cognitive thinking and cognitive power. Okay, but machines don't have. Whereas machines have immense computing power. Okay, what we are trying to do is we are imparting the cognitive skills and the learning ability to impart that to a machine and get the best of both. Okay, we'll discuss that topic specifically. I have in one of the future slides. Okay, I want your opinion as well. This is a good question, but summary you can take this way. There are flip side as well. Okay, that's what we are going to discuss in one of the slides, and one of the coming slides. But thing is, we want to use the both the cognitive skills and the computing power, right? if everything can be done by a man or human, right? Machines are not going to be of more use. Whereas machines have immense computing power. Like, we can't memorize so much of things, right? You learn and you have your own things, like you may forget something in a later point, right? But machines are not that way. I mean, have a terabytes of data and things like that, right? It can predict, whatever you want. I'm going to exactly discuss one of these cases now. Okay, Vina?
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Now, want an answer from each one of you that I'm using a technology which I think is an AI in my daily use. Few examples.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, AI chatbots like ChatGPT,
Excellent.
b.Tech.
Excellent. Chat GPT, chatbot. Okay, next.
So virtual assistants like Alexa and
Sure. Perfect. Yes.
Siri.
Alexa. Correct. Yes. Okay. Chatbot. The answer. Yeah. Self-driving cars, right? Which is becoming very common now. Not in India though, but other countries are. It's not far away. In India too, it may be coming, right? So self-driving cars. Yeah. And the image scanning. I mean, using your
face recognition.
Yeah, image recognition. Yeah. And you write something on in Google itself, right? You type something and you get a prediction that let's say you type national ENG, right? And you get a prediction that this is what you are trying to search. That's a AI behind too. And you go to YouTube, right? And you've seen some video today, and you get the recommendations that these are all you would like to see. I mean, this is related to what you have seen based on your search history and things like that, right? Recommendations, right? That's a AI too. Okay. Then fraud detection, right? You try to anomaly detection, fraud detection, and money transactions and all, right? And healthcare too. Okay, a doctor now tries to identify a cancer cell with the help of AI and machine learning. Okay, based on the size of the cell and based on the thickness of the cell, right? Whether it identifies whether it's a malignant cell or benign cell, right? AI helps in that as well. Okay, now Vina, to your question, right? A doctor who has a limited experience, let's say he has 4 or 5 years of oncologist experience, right? Oncology experience in oncology, he tries to identify those things. Whereas the AI can be fed with years of data into it. Okay, and now it predicts that whether so typically, right, you have the report with you, and the doctor tries to identify, oh, okay, this is a malignant cell, and probably this could be a cancer, right? Or this is a benign, it's not a cancer, right? That's how he does based on his 5 years of understanding and things like that, right? Whereas machine learning can be fed with plenty of data. I mean, several other doctors in the world, who have seen that data will be fed to that and then gets a prediction. Now the question is whether that can be completely relied upon and can be treated. Answer may be no. Okay, it has to be correlated with an oncologist. Oncologist use the help of AI and use it for his purpose. It's not going to replace an oncologist per se, but it makes use of AI as a tool for validating his predictions and validating whether it's a cancer or not. Okay, I think it partially answers your question as well, Vina. We are making use of AI for making the best use of our UI to predict certain things. Okay, yeah, you find application everywhere, automobile to healthcare. Yeah.
Sir, I have one more doubt. If we use AI in all field, then how human beings get job?
Exactly. That's another slide too. We are going to discuss that. Hold your question. Yeah. Healthcare, finance, software, right? Manufacturing, retail, and maintenance. Okay. Hold on for the question. I mean, we'll in maybe 6-7 slides ahead, and then you're going to discuss that topic as well, the social impact. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, space research and whatnot. Okay, quick fundamentals to the ones who are relatively new to machine learning. Okay, so machine learning can be classified as broadly as supervised and unsupervised machine learning. And within supervised, you have regression, classification, clustering, and yeah, unsupervised can be classified as clustering and association. Okay, how is it, machine learning really works? Okay, you see a bunch of dogs, photo of bunch of dogs, right? And it has its own characteristics. Someone is small, this is big, has a long ears, someone is, and the dog is drooling and it has, white spots on it, right? Based on that, um, you label the data. Okay, that's what is supervised machine learning, right? You label the data, the training data, and you feed that to a machine. Already this is the this is the bulldog, and you tell this program that this is a bulldog, this is a rottweiler, this is German shepherd and things like that, and feed it to that. And when a new image comes, right, an unseen image comes, the program tries to predict that, hey, when the one on the left corner is rottweiler, right, something like that. So that's what is supervised learning. Okay, and more specifically, this is a classification, right? It tries to classify. This is a Rottweiler dog or German Shepherd and things like that. Okay, regression is you're trying to. These are all actually regression and classification. This is a statistical technique. Okay, it's not specific to machine learning. So in statistical world, regression is in a constant, a continuous variable. You try to predict something. For example, what would be my marks in the next semester for, let's say, microprocessor subject, right? It can be 20, 21, or can be 81, 90, 91, right? It's a continuous variable. You're trying to predict something, predict a continuous variable based on the given inputs. That's about regression. Okay. Clustering or unsupervised learning. You're not labeling the data, training data. Okay, it may not be possible. Okay, you feed the data to a system, and it tries to group or cluster among what is what it sees. It identifies some pattern in the data and tries to cluster it. That's about clustering, and that's unsupervised machine learning. So what is association? Association is something like this. You try to relate, again, it's not a labeled data. It tries to relate, two data and say that, these two could be related. For example, you feed a DNA mapping, okay? It tries to group and say that, this slightly matches with, what the other DNA, right? And it could be this is related to this is, right? So that's about association. It tries to associate two things. Okay. So machine learning algorithms. Yeah, go.
Sir, there is also a third type of machine learning algorithms, right, sir? Reinforcement learning. Why isn't it specified here?
Yeah, reinforcement learning, and for further topics in one of my slides, I have that. That's actually not a reinforcement learning. Is not an actually type of machine learning. Okay, it's actually an advanced technique which you maybe since you have opened that topic, let me touch upon what is a reinforcement learning. Okay, the transfer learning and reinforcement learnings are now very predominantly being used and applied in real world use cases. Okay, you have a penalty. It tries to learn on its own. You apply a penalty and you apply a reward. Okay, and it tries to learn on its own. Okay, that's how reinforced learning happens. That can be fit into any of this. It could be a classification problem. Okay, it could be a clustering problem. It could be an association problem. Okay, So this is actually a broader classification of what supervised machine learning and what unsupervised machine learning, and what are the different types of problems you see in machine learning world. Getting it? So the reinforcement learning, transformers, large language models, and all other things can fit into any of these categories. A reinforcement learning can classify something, can try to identify an image, could be a labeled or unlabeled data. Getting it? Guru Vashini?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So there are plenty of algorithms. Again, I'm not going to the details of it. Okay, there are very common XGBoost, random forest, and so many algorithms. Okay, these are all you find a lot of information on the net. Go to there, and in the interest of time, I mean, my focus is going to be on practical and industrial sense. How industrial acumen. For what we are discussing now. Okay, plenty of algorithms available. You can. The key is identifying the right algorithm for the right use case. Okay, that's the key, which always you need to keep in mind. Okay, let me pause here. Okay. I'm going to ask a few example use cases, and will ask you to identify what kind of use case is that. Okay, or what kind of machine learning problem is it? What will be the next week's sales? A sales representative want to understand, what will be the next week's sales. Now you remember this diagram, supervised, unsupervised, and you have regression, classification, clustering, and association. What do you guys think? This problem is. Is it a regression? Is it classification, clustering, or association?
Regression.
Okay. Anyone in any other alternate views? That's the right answer. That's regression. Okay. What is the temperature going to be tomorrow?
Regression.
Good. Regression.
Regression.
Yeah. Will it rain tomorrow?
Regression.
No.
Classification.
That's classification. So it's a binary classification, whether it's going to be raining or not. Okay, that's a classification. You have seen spam filtering, right? That's a machine learning technology as well. Okay, in the Gmail or whatever you use. So what type of problem is that?
Classification.
Correct.
Clustering.
No, binary classification. Okay. DNA pattern grouping.
Clustering.
Clustering, correct. And so you're seeing the recommendations, right? Go to Amazon site. You find that you have bought a product recently, and you see a recommendation that customers who bought this also bought this, right? What we in the industrial world we call it as a cross-selling. Okay, so for cross-selling recommendations, companies use AI and machine learning. What type of problem is that?
Clustering.
Any other answers? That's association. Okay, so it tries to find a pattern and tries to associate two data, two products. Okay, so that's why it is called association. Okay, good. Yeah, machine learning pipeline. Okay, machine learning is actually not a you develop a program and just deploy it. Okay, it has its own steps, like any other software program that undergoes the life cycle, right? So user first processes the data, okay, and develop a model, right? If it is a neural network model, you design, how many layers are there, what are the input layer, what are the activation function you are going to use, and all those things. Build a layer, right, and train the model with the data that you have it on hand, right, and then deploy the model. Okay, even before that, you have the steps like evaluate the model. we are going to discuss in the forthcoming slide, what are the metrics that you should use for evaluating a model, right? Evaluate a model, and it's not going to be a simple step. It's going to be an iterative step. How good you are in choosing an algorithm. There isn't likely chances that there will be another algorithm, another model performs better than this. So it has to be an iterative process. You keep trying that and trying to find out which algorithm suits your problem best, and use that, right? It will be a continuous feedback loop for the algorithms. So that's evaluation. Once it is evaluated, you deploy that model and get a rest endpoint, right? Or any API which you would use for prediction and when a new feed comes. Okay. And how you import the data, there are many other techniques, like if it is a continuous stream, use a Kafka, or if it is a bulk import, and when you have data, big data, you process that data. There are many techniques, how you feed the data, how you process the data and system, right? We're going to discuss those. But data is the first step. Data processing, the first step. Okay. So this is actually a tentative diagram that shows how much time and effort that you typically, or machine learning experts typically spend for each of these models, for data aggression, data cleansing, data labeling, and augmentation, right? And then developing a machine learning algorithm. How much time and effort you'll be spending for training and optimization, and finally, finally the optimization, tuning and optimization. Okay, what do you guys infer from this pie chart? Comments? Any comments from anyone?
Data cleaning and data labeling will take more time.
Exactly. You need to spend more time, and data is the key. Okay, in machine learning, data is the key. Though the modeling, training, and everything is important too, but data is the key. Okay, how good you process the data, how much data that you feed into the system, and how much relevant data you are feeding into the system. There is a step called feature engineering before you model, right? Feature engineering is you select a feature is something that's the input. Okay? The same example of the dog breed identification, right? Whether a block spot, will it make a difference in identifying a particular dog breed? Then that's a feature, right? And how much weightage you need to add to that, and things like that, right? That's the key. So that's a feature engineering. So that's all good, but the data is the key. You need to process, and especially in the NLP and other things, you need to several techniques to process the data. So data is very important. Okay. So these are different model evaluation techniques. Okay, precision and accuracy, that you can see from the diagram. What a precision mean and what an accuracy means, right? And the other techniques are like other metrics are like recall and F1. So TP refers to true positive, FP false positive. Okay, so there are a lot of information available on the net. I'm not going to spend much time on it, but this is where you can evaluate her. Okay. Now let's talk about deep learning. I don't know how much time we have. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, deep learning is increasingly becoming popular, and as the problems that the AI is going to solve is getting complex and becoming more and more complex, going to employ people are employing deep learning very comprehensively. Okay, like I said, it tried to mimic our neuron pattern. You add you have an input layer, output layer, and add as many hidden layers in between, and add weightages and things like that, and finally develop a model that gets prediction. You get prediction from it, right? So these are all, you can play around with all of these techniques, all of these parameters, to get the best output from your machine learning or deep learning model, right? So these parameters are called hyperparameters. They are like, an example is how many number of layers you are going to have, right? What is the function that you are going to have, softmax function and activation function, and things like that, right? So what is the function that you're going to use? If you go to the advanced transformers, you have the hyperparameters called the temperature and stop words and things like that, right? So these are the parameters that you can tune it, and how many epochs that you are going to train, right? These are the few hyperparameters that would be tuning to get the best prediction out of it. Okay. There are plenty of neural networks available. A few of them, like artificial neural network is the common, the base neural network. Convolutional neural network, recurrent neural network. In fact, convolutional is predominantly used in image classification and image processing. That's called computer vision, right? Recurrent neural network is predominantly used for NLP or natural language processing. But now the transformers, which are now the latest buzz in the world, right? It's actually eclipsing recurrent neural network. Okay, so it's actually, I would say, replacing RNN. So people are increasingly using transformers rather than RNN or recurrent neural network. Okay. NLP and computer vision. Okay. NLP is also becoming increasingly popular. What is natural language processing? Again, chatbots, right? It tries to answer your questions by reading the textual data that it enters, right? It is trained on a textual data, right? Or it could be even a audio data. Audio file is converted as textual data. Speech is converted as text, and the machine is trained on that, and you try to get predictions out of it. Okay, these are quickly few techniques that you do in NLP: stemming and lemmatization, stop words removal, word tokenization, right? NAR, named entity recognition.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, Veena.
Sir, what is the need for converting the voice message into a reading message, or reading message into voice message?
Yeah, so you have Alexa, right? The example that we discussed earlier, right? So it has to identify, it has to read, it has to understand what the user speaks, and and into a textual data, right? And typically you won't feed a machine learning model directly with the data that you get, be it a textual or it's an image or something. You tokenize that, right? So the first step is speech is converted into text, right? And it reads, the machine learning reads and tries to understand tokenization, right? Tokenize it. The machine learning reads that, right? That's how the learning process goes. Okay, that's how it understands. So it can process textual data. You can convert a textual data or the image data into tokens and things like that, right? Speech, you try to convert again as a textual data, and that can be input for another NLP model as well, which is completely, the output that you get is textual data. Okay, so Alexa is a classic example. You talk to them, it tries to convert, and it digests those facts, because the facts are all in textual data, right? I mean, all the internet, I mean, how you make the system train is all textual data, right? All the image data, correct? So the speech has to be converted as textual format, and then you make the machine learn. That's how the process goes. Okay.
Okay, sir.
And there are a few examples of NLP that are shown, email, spam detection, and things like that. Okay. And computer vision, yeah, that is also a key and an emerging technology now. Image processing. Okay. Transformers.
So,
Yeah.
in Yes, sorry, CNN, you said some term like airports. So what is that, sir?
Sorry, can you repeat? It was echoing.
Sir, in CNN, you said the term airports.
Yeah,
What does
epochs.
that mean, sir?
Okay. Epoch is, yeah, epoch is not specific to CNN. That is for neural network, any neural network. Okay. Um, epoch is actually a batch. You can, correlate this with a batch. Okay. When a neural network model is trained, you decide a number of batches. For every batch, you know how you split the data and process it, right? What are the that's how a machine learning algorithm tries to learn. So the epoch is actually a batch in how many batches that you want to learn, want the program to learn. That's what is called epoch. Okay. It's not just specific to CNN, it's applicable to any neural network model. So that's again a parameter. That you how do you decide how much epoch you need to choose? I mean, this is not in your hand. There is no direct science or math for that. It will be iteratively you need to arrive at it. Right? It's one of the hyperparameters, epoch and yeah, number of network, number of neural nets, number of hidden layers that you add, the function that you're going to use. These are all hyperparameters. Okay, is that clear?
Okay, sir.
Moving on, yeah, transformers. Yeah, this is actually the new buzzword in the industry, transformers, right? They are doing wonders. Transformers are doing wonders. Chat GPT is revolutionizing the world, right? GPT is known for the beginners, right? It's a pre-trained transformer, right? So that's revolutionizing word. Every company is now investing large in GPTs, right? So I'm not going to the details of transformer, how it works and other things, because academically plenty of information available on the net and projects available for you to learn. Okay. But the key terms or the key features of transformers you should understand is actually self-attention mechanism. You have actually it's based on encoder and decoder architecture, right? It promotes parallelized computation. Okay, that's how transformers are becoming increasingly popular and can solve. They're able to solve complex problems. Okay, and they are used for machine translation and chatbot questions and answering and all those things. Sentiment analysis, language generation, things like that. Okay. GPT T5 is also becoming increasingly popular. T5 is known for text to the full form for T5 is text to text transfer transformer. Okay. Yeah, GPT everyone knows now. Okay. These are all actually transformer based models. Okay. Not just for NLP and textual processing. Transformers are now being used for image processing as well. Okay. They are giving great results. Okay, moving on to software architecture and technology. Okay, yeah, like we briefly discussed earlier, right? This is not it's not a single one-step process. It has it's actually a collaborative effort of many people, many professionals involved in a software solution or AI-based solution. Okay, data scientists, they process the data, develop a machine learning algorithm, um, evaluate it, and finalize, deploy it, evaluate it. I'm going to discuss about MLOps next. Evaluate it and keep that as an API. Now the software engineer has to develop an architecture. The architect has to develop an architecture for the whole ML process, right? How the data is being ingested into it, the training data how will be ingested, how the real world data will be ingested, if it is a streaming data, if it is a web scrap or whatnot, right? to analyze all those things. So software architect, architects everything, and the software professional develops it, and development operations are also involved, right? So it's actually a combination of collaborative effort by many people. Okay, and these are all actually the different technology used in different phases. Okay, for the big data processing, what would you use, right? If it is a streaming data, what technology you would use, right? It varies from one stage to the other. Okay, Python and R are very popular. Python is very popular. In fact, when compared to R in the machine learning world for developing the machine learning models. Okay, Hadoop, Spark are used for big data processing, as you everyone know, right? Yeah, advanced databases are available now for processing the data. Okay, MLOps. Okay, before going to MLOps, a question to you guys. So, what is DevOps? How many of you know what is DevOps? DevOps?
It is a combined society for development and operators.
Any other answers? Okay, so development operations is in a software industry. When you develop, a programmer writes a program to solve a particular use case, it cannot be converted as, let's say, an exe file or jar file and delivered to a customer. Not possible, right? As you would know, there are many people who are involved in it. Forget about even AI, machine learning, right? Even for a regular software development, there are many people, many teams, hundreds of teams develop different pieces of the product, and finally all of them are merged, okay, and then delivered to a customer. So this even the merging process has its own challenges. Okay, once it is merged, it may have an impact on the other code and other modules, right? It has to be first integration tested. Then you make some changes, you make some bugs fixes, and then do a integration testing, right? And make sure that all the integration points are aligned and working well. Then do a certification system testing, and certification testing before releasing to the customer. Now, once it is released to the customer, you need to branch that. So you need to version the code. I'm explaining it in the simplest form for a better understanding, but it is much more complicated when it comes to architecture, right? There's a lot of components. I'm trying to explain it in the simplest form. Okay, so once it is released to the customer, you have a version. Why? That has to be further developed and enhanced. You keep developing it as a product company, right? A software development company. You'll keep developing the branch, but the main line will still be delivered to the customer. Any fix or any bugs comes, you need to debug that in that main line, right? So you have to maintain multiple lines. Now, another version comes, you need to branch it further. That's how the whole software development lifecycle works. And even in each of the steps, there are plenty of things. You need to first develop an instance or develop an environment for all developers and testers, QA analysts, everyone to come and patch their code, and test and all those things, which are without affecting others' work, right? So all these operations have to be managed. That's what the DevOps tools, the DevOps role is. Okay, in a company, in a software development company, there will be a team called development operations or DevOps. Their job is to monitor and manage all of these jobs. Okay, all of the actions that we discussed now, and performance testing, performance monitoring, right? You have a dev instance that has to be always up and running, right? Monitor all of the things, right? So similar to DevOps, you have a MLOps as well. That is also becoming very popular, and now every industry is realizing, any industry who uptakes, any company that uptakes machine learning solution has to have a machine learning operations team. Okay, the role of machine learning ops. This is actually very high level overview of what ML ops does. Okay, this is just to give an idea of what it is, but you guys have to go through and understand it a lot. Okay, how the machine learning model is deployed, how it is staging environment, how production environment it is deployed, how you get the predictions out of it, and things like that. Okay. Okay. So again, it's constantly emerging technology. Okay. Yeah. Before that, any questions so far in DevOps and MLOps? Okay, I hope no. So it's actually a fast changing field. Every day you see a new technology. Okay, this is someone asked this question, right? Transfer learning and reinforcement learning, they're all becoming very popular as well. Okay, generative AI, I mean generative pre-trained transformer, GPT, right? So everybody is now that's the buzzword. And no code ML. People don't have time now for developing a code, right? There are apps available. You can just a company can just buy that no code platforms and use it for their purposes. Okay, HML and IoT. Yeah, smart automation is another example of HML. Okay, so you have a home automation system, and so that's a device, and you add AI and ML too, to intelligently, to make intelligently work, right? Let's say you want to set the power off, after some time. And another example we give you on smart refrigerators, that is also being worked upon in several countries now. You have a so the companies are now, if you have a refrigerator, it's an IoT device, and let's say you stock milk in the milk tray. So after 2 days, I mean, the level goes down. Let's say you have stacked four, you have stocked four milk packets. Now it goes to two. The inventory goes to two. It automatically creates. It detects that the number of packets and the milk packets in the refrigerator. It automatically detects that an order has to be placed. For example, it connects to an Amazon Fresh system, right? E-commerce, any portal that is integrated. It even places an order, and automatically it is delivered at your doorstep. You won't even look at. So this again, going back to the same question, making people lazy. Yeah, it is going to make people lazy. You don't even have to look at your refrigerator and see, this is out of stock. Automatically the stock brings down and places order. Okay. So yeah, those are all actually example of HML IoT. Okay, driverless cars, auto ML is also picking up. So the example that we discussed, right? Oncologist as a doctor, using AI and machine learning for his requirement, right? But he may not be a data scientist. He may not be even a software engineer to know what is AI. How you add, how many hyperparameters you would be adding. You don't know, right? So this auto MLs provide some kind of platform to a doctor who can feed data that he has, and doctor is an expert in telling the system that these are the features that you should consider for machine learning inferences, right? Let's say the same cancer cell example, right? He may say, consider the shape of it, consider the thickness of it, right? So these are the inputs that he can give. Okay, so now it is a simple user interface where he can upload the data and tell the system, these are the features I want. Okay, behind the scene they process the data, creates the tokens, and chooses an algorithm, and but remember, if the user, a doctor or someone who has knowledge in algorithm selection, they can also play a role. But behind the scene, it creates an algorithm and even gets a prediction from it. Okay, so that's AutoML. So basically, bringing the AI/ML technology to the end user. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, is there any other possible ways without using AI can doctor can guess that the disease or cancer? You told no the cell size thickness.
Mhm.
Is there any other possible ways without using AI?
Currently, doctors, what do we do? I mean, before AI or ML comes, right? How doctors identify it, right? So they manually read the data, right? You have a reports available, right? All the scanning reports available, right? He reads the data. What he does, I mean, he has seen so much such cells in his life, right? And once he suspects something to be cancer, he would have sent that for, let's say he says, the thickness is, 0.1 micron, right? He doubts it could be a, malignant cell, okay? Maybe a cancer, right? Then he may send it for further, purpose, report and diagnostics services, and tries to identify. So all along, before AI, what, oncology, what they were doing is manually doing it, manually interpreting whether, this is a AI, this is a cancer cell or not, okay? But AI, with the help of AI, they are trying to, they're trying to use AI as a tool to augment his prediction, or help him make this as a tool for it. Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Cloud-based AI services. So what are the cloud services that you guys are aware of? Or the popular cloud services that you guys know?
Google Drive.
Sorry?
Google Drive.
Okay. In fact, Google's cloud services is GCP, Google Cloud Platform. Okay. Google Drive uses GCP. Actually, Google Drive is it's a file storage system, which behind the scene uses GCP. Okay, Google Cloud Platform. So cloud platform services. Let me read.
AWS.
Correct. Yeah, AWS. Yes. Right. So AWS, Google's GCP, Microsoft Azure, right? Oracle's OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, right? OCI. So these are all the leading cloud services, and you can now find AI services in those services as well. Okay, AWS has SageMaker service, GCP has AutoML services. Okay, so what do? They're out of the box. You have these services APIs available. Companies can make use of it for translation or NER, named entity recognition, and several other use cases. Okay, that is also becoming increasingly popular. Okay. Jenti, I have few more topics to cover. Is that okay if I spill over some more time?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. If you have any doubts, students, any questions over there? Any queries?
Yeah, I have few more
Hello.
slides to cover. If you see, yes.
Yes,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you
I
had a
have a
question, Alan?
question.
Yeah.
Yes, Magesh, I'm actually just want to take a minute to introduce me. I'm a 92 batch computer science from National Engineering College.
Hello.
And I just happened to join this call today. So I wanted to ask you a career question here. So as a traditional software engineer, like you have a lot of, not an AI software engineer, but as a traditional software engineer, how would a traditional software engineer make use of AI to enhance the career? We see a lot of companies, they're starting to use AI. The engineers are using AI to, nobody, I mean, I've seen product companies, they're starting to use AI for generating code. So do you think AI is a threat to the software engineers like in the going forward?
Yeah. Can you hold this question for a couple of minutes?
Sure.
I have one more topic in that, and I'm going to discuss that in detail. That's what I'm planning to ask. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Exact question. Yeah. Sorry. So AI and robotics and automation. Yeah. Now it is increasingly becoming popular, right? You have warehouse management system, assembly lines, or increasingly using AI robotics, right? And yeah, healthcare industry is vehemently using robotics as well, right? Home automation we briefly discussed, right? So I'm not going to the details of it, but just want to give a sense of what robotics does now. These are the topics, like want to discuss more about the social impact of it, right? Okay, my first question to you guys is, will the AI take away jobs?
Yes,
What do you
sir.
think? Yes. Okay. What else? Any alternate views? Someone thinks it will not, or have a different views? Yeah, simple and plain answer is yes. Okay. There's no question about it. We are seeing self-driving cars, right? You can always argue that AI produces jobs as well, right? Because we're going to discuss in the next topic. What are the jobs that can bring in, right? But at the same time, drivers may, in this example, drivers may use their job, right? It's not immediate impact is that they cannot learn. A driver who has been doing the driving job for 50 years cannot just change, learn AI and machine learning and take away a role or a job, right? So his job is taken away, right? This you would have seen. How many of you know what she is? Who she is?
News reader or weather detector?
Sorry?
Maybe a news reader or
Okay.
a weather detector.
Okay. Any other answer? Who is she?
News reporter.
But she is not a human news reporter. She's a AI.
It's
Okay. The Orissa TV.
a new AI reader,
Correct. Yeah.
news reader.
Correct. A TV in Odisha, last couple of days ago, they have introduced this AI news anchor, right? Lisa. Okay. So the jobs of the news anchors are at risk? Yes, it is. Okay. This is actually a restaurant we went. This is my son, by the way. We went to that restaurant 4 years ago, I think, in Bangalore, and it's actually now, it has taken away the waiter's job. Yeah. So that's why I'm using the word called job displacement. It's not actually taking away a job, but the social impact is that it displaces. It is a job. It results in job displacement. Now the question is, will only the jobs which is a lower skill set, right? I mean, the society has classified some roles as low skilled jobs and high skilled jobs and things like that, right? I may not believe, or you may not believe. That's how the discrimination is, right? So it's going to take away only those jobs which is less skilled, like lathe operator or a driver and things. And the industry, so-called industry, has classified software engineers as high-skilled jobs, right? H-1B visa is offered to high-skilled jobs, and software engineers come under that category, right? They are not affected. The answer is unfortunately no, because as you all know, GPT is actually generating the question Anandan asked, right? Whether it's going to be software engineers. Yeah, it's going to may take away software engineers' job as well. GPT generates wonderful programs, software programs. You just need to feed in that, for this problem, I want a code. You doesn't have to worry about if threads and if else statements and threads and everything. It generates wonderful codes, right? And artists, right? Leonardo da Vinci had created a magic several decades ago, right? Called Mona Lisa, right? So we have classified certain artwork as high skilled artwork, and we have we attribute some kind of importance to that and attribute some kind of value to it and things like that, right? Now AI produces plenty of drawings and paintings on its own, right? So now how would you even classify something as high skilled work, and how would you attribute your value to it? And it has a lot of economical value to it as well, right? So that's why actually even the states, the countries and governments are scratching their head how to govern it, how to control it, right? It has a lot of social impact. It has a socio-economic impact. Okay. But can we do something? Can we stop this thing? No. Any technology cannot be stopped. No technology can be stopped. I mean, it's a revolution. So this is an example where math teachers was protesting, use of calculator, a few decades ago, last century. But that's not possible. I mean, you just can't govern that. It's like after. You introduce calculator only after in higher grades or something like that. You cannot really stop it. And computers, when the computers came, it take away a lot of jobs, like typewriter jobs are gone. You guys may not even know. The old generation, you have typewriting jobs, right? They're all gone. But we started using that. Mobile has taken away so much of job, right? It has produced communication in other jobs as well, but it has taken away, the alarm clocks, and it has taken away a lot of alarm clock companies, camera companies, and it has taken away a lot of the roles and things like that. But it produces, but the underlying part is we cannot stop the technology. You only can embrace and move on. Okay. So yeah.
Yes, me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, you tell that nowadays AI only take low authorized jobs, but in upcoming years there will be an opportunity that the world will become full of AI. Then the AI can affect even the high authorized job also, no?
Not in future, even now I'm saying, right? We call that as software engineers or high skilled jobs, not just low skilled jobs. They are termed as high skilled jobs, at least for now. Now it is no more. If AI can produce wonderful codes, right? It can replace software engineers. Okay. Again, software engineers not just programming, but it can replace programmers. Let me reword that, right? Software programmers, it can replace software programmers. Okay, it produces. Yes, that's the change. I mean, that's the change we are into. Okay, but can we stop it? No. Technology cannot be stopped. Right?
Sir, what if AI fails to do something like in self-driving cars? We can't really depend on AI. So if anything goes wrong, it may cause accidents, right? So
That's why
is
India
there any case?
correct. So that's how this governing rules comes, right? Based on the country-specific regulation, country-specific scenarios. We need to have governments has to govern that and put rules. That's the example. That's the reason why we don't have self-driving cars in India now. But self-driving cars are becoming popular and increasing in numbers in other countries already. US have a lot of, my colleagues have a lot of self-driving cars in Germany and in UI and many other European countries as well. Okay. So it's just a matter of time it comes to India. I mean, we can think that, oh, India, it's not possible. It's a traffic, is all this. Google Map, within few years, it has mapped the whole country, right? Earlier, there were no signs. I mean, a lot of mess here, right? But it has mapped the whole country now, correct? So it produces directions, it gives you directions, it gives you everything now, right? It just can come in, in a just matter of a few years, right? So it may take some time, but self-driving cars in India is not far away. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, that's what my prediction is. Okay, It's going to come in India as well. So only thing that what we can do is governments can do is put regulations, according to the local scenario. Okay? There's no escape. Okay. Yeah. So so what are the opportunities that AI and machine learning can give us, right? Yeah, data scientists, of course, who has mastered statistics, has done good thing in statistics, and learned statistic techniques, and also machine learning fundamentals, right? Can become a software scientist. Okay. And then I have seen, even the software engineers learned data science and things like that, and as developed machine learning, machine learning models and machine learning programs. So switching a software engineer, switching to data science is not a big deal. Okay, just that you need to learn and master that.
Okay.
That's what my, in fact, myself too, right? So I'm basically a mechanical engineer, and you would know in early 90s, even the computers were having first generation computers, right? I mean, no Windows, nothing that time, right? So when we started to work, we had to use computers, and then to learn whatever machine learning or Python, right? So yeah, so software engineers can definitely learn Python, and I'm going to discuss that. What are the learning path? But they can learn and easily switch to and become a machine learning engineer. And within software itself, without even getting into the machine learning part of it, data science part of it, they can contribute to machine learning solutions. Like I said, the AI solution architects, right? They need to have specific knowledge in processing big data, devising the whole architecture for machine learning solutions and machine learning products. So there is a lot of scope for that as well, AI solution architects, and they can continue to be AI software development engineers, because that needs some specific skills, right? Python coding and other things. There can be software engineers as well. Whatever the architects develop, right? You need to provide those infrastructure and platforms. And AI, the previous slides we discussed, right? AI services, cloud services, auto ML, right? These are all actually the software engineers can directly develop the AI solutions. They may not be data scientists who will be developing a model, but they'll be contributing, or they'll be adding a great value to AI and machine learning products. Okay, and DevOps, ML ops and DevOps, that has actually a great scope in career as well. Right? Big data specialists, Hadoop, Apache Spark management. Those Apache Spark and big data is a buzzword in industry, that not just for machine learning AI, even for a BI and analytics also, you need this technology. So that has a lot of scope as well. Okay, and AI consultants, solution consultants, and of course resource analysts. Okay. So what are the learning path for AI? Right? Python is the key. R and Python are popular for developing machine learning solutions. Okay, very simple, easy to learn, but you can start with it. The beginners can start with learning Python and statistical techniques. Okay, that is the key for ML as well. Okay, machine learning fundamentals, right? The one that we discussed, and what are the libraries it has, what are the APIs commonly available and popular. Yeah, big data, of course, we discussed a lot about that. DevOps, okay, load balancer, Docker containers, Kubernetes, how you manage those things for your machine learning solutions. Yeah, but the key is business and industry acumen. So to answer to Veena's question as well, right? If every job is taken away, is there a threat? Okay, but anyone can, like I said, I mean, you can ask ChatGPT and get a machine learning code, and you can deploy it. But where you would use that specific machine learning algorithm for a specific use case, that is still in machine learning world is a high skill set. first identifying the problem itself. What kind of problem is that? Whether AI is suitable for that. How you process the data, how you identify, this data is useful for that, and what are the techniques that you use for all of this, right? And the business and industry acumen. That's the key in a successful career in AI and machine learning. Okay, that maybe at least a long way for a computer or AI to replace that part of it. That's still you need human expertise, at least for now. Okay, you need to have a business and industry acumen. Learning paths. There are plenty of resources available. Okay, GitHub is a wonderful resource. You have plenty of real world problems available if you want to. By the way, I mean, Anandana, did I answer your question or want to discuss more?
Magesh, you definitely answered my question. The path and everything you laid out makes sense. I've been a traditional software engineer for years now, so I'm starting to think about what this AI would mean to my job. As a traditional software engineer. So as you pointed out, the programming part, I no longer have to write lines of code. It's available. If I prompt, how do I read a message from a queue? The lines of codes are out there. So as a software engineer, you would, even with AI in existence, you would still need software engineers to solve for the business problem, right? You don't have to write the code, but you have to engineer all the different parts and get the product right.
Absolutely. That's the key. Yeah. That's a differentiator between a software professional or engineering professional from a machine, right? AI or ChatGPT, right? So that's still with us. So yeah.
Thank you, Magesh. Very nice to. I'm glad to join this session. I don't want to distract the rest of the group, but thank you. It was very, very useful. So it's midnight here, but I wanted to, we have an alumni group in the US, and I got the link, and I thought I would join. It's Friday night, so I thought I would join and see what I can learn from it. So it's very useful. Thank you, Magesh.
Thank you. Yeah. Moving on. GitHub is a wonderful resource. Okay. There are plenty of real world problems. Okay. Just download it. Time permits, I'll quickly show one program how easy it is to develop this on your own, right? So I'll show quickly after this. So GitHub will have a lot of such real world public data set available. You can just pick that and try on your own. That's the key. Okay. Andrew Ng is kind of a father of the machine learning area. So there are a lot of books. Coursera, there are plenty of courses available. Kaggle is another wonderful resource for learning machine learning. Yeah. So again, the real world use cases are the key, and public data set is the key. Okay. Let me quickly show what a real world program means. Let me stop sharing and show it for a couple of minutes. Let me stop sharing. Can you guys see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So this is again a public program which is available. Very simple program. I think I took it from Kaggle or GitHub. I'm forgetting it. But all it does is a few lines of code. It just picks the data from a public data set. Okay. The objective of this AI machine learning program is to predict the price of a house in a given locality. Okay, that's the objective of the machine learning program. It reads data. It classifies the features or identifies the features as rooms, bathrooms, land size, latitude, and longitude. This is to identify the geography of the property, and this is number of rooms, number of bathrooms, and what is the land size. Okay, and this is in training data, example training data. Okay, with how many rooms, what would be this is the longitude and latitude, with how many rooms and bathrooms, what is the price, right? The price, yeah, this is an example of the data frame. With the 2 rooms, 1 bathroom, land size is this, and this is the geography, and what is the price, right? This is the price of it. A simple data set. And using a program called algorithm called decision tree regressor. I'm trying to make the system learn this program, learn the data, and I'm taking a prediction out of it. Okay, I'm going to feed some data. This is the data I'm feeding in an Excel, and it reads from that Excel, and now tries to predict, what the price is for each of this input that you have given. For a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom, which a land size of 202, and this is the location, and this is the price of it. It predicts that this will be the price of this house. Okay, similarly for other houses as well. Very simple program. I mean, this is just to motivate you to plan something like this, or try to pick some programs. It's so easy that you can just pick it from internet and use it for your thing. Okay. Yeah, it's not that tough to learn machine learning anymore. Okay. The key is download in any such programs and tries to play around with that. It's hardly few lines of code. Any questions so far? Rather, I mean, I'm done with, you can ask any questions you want. Yeah?
Sir, in upcoming generations, can you think AI is advantage or disadvantage in your point of view?
Very tough to answer that question. But when computers were introduced, this was the question. When OTT was introduced, this was the question. It's going to demolish movie industry, film industry, right? When cinema was introduced, there were protests that it is going to destroy the drama industry, theater industry, right? But we could not stop. OTT was stopped 10 years ago when one of our actors tried to do bring that Kamal Hassan, right? But OTT is the way now. Like we watch movies on OTT on a daily basis, right? So it's a technology. You can't actually really classify that it's a boon or bane. You have to live with that. You cannot ban. You have to live with that. Mobiles, when introduced, a lot of agitation that is going to kill the intelligence of people. It's going to disconnect people, right? There were arguments that's going to disconnect people. The writing will go down and everything. But we can't call that as a mobile is a pain, right? You have to start using that. You have to learn and start using that. Otherwise, you'll remain as a caveman, right? So Google, right? To the same question that you asked, right? Why humans cannot use that? Why you make machine learn and make people use it? You go to Google every day. You search a lot of information on Google. How easy it is to find information. You have a recommendations. You have a the auto completion, right? You just type National ENG, it gives you National Engineering College next to that, right? Based on your history and search history and everything, right? So it's how easy it is, right? So there are a lot of uses, and we cannot even argue that it's a bane, you should ban it. So that's not possible. We are not in the world is technology cannot be, banned and shunned.
Yes, sir. Sir, another one more point is you told many of the importance and many of the benefits of chat gpt, but it's almost its benefit only. But in another side, chat gpt consume almost 7 lakh liters of waters for cooling purpose. So it another side it destroy our natural resources also, no?
True, very true. That's how those governing rules, governments have to pitch in and tries to govern and preserve the earth, right? Same goes to e-waste, right? Before computers were introduced, right? I mean, we know we were from the previous generations. When before the computers were introduced, it was a relatively cleaner society. No e-waste, right? As a cleaner society, no plastics at that time in the 80s, 70s. There were no plastics at all, right? Similarly, even before cars and vehicles were becoming popular, it was a cleaner society. No pollution, everything. Now with the internet, you have a lot of data centers available. You have to set up a lot of data centers. They consume a lot of the natural resources. They spoil the natural resources. All true, but you need to have a balance. I mean, that's how the governments and states are trying to do. They try to balance between use of technology versus how to preserve the earth and how to make it eco-friendly, right? So yeah, that's how something every governments are trying to do. Yeah.
Sir, in upcoming generations, will AI increase job vacancies or will decrease the job vacancies?
It has to actually it has to balance. Ideally, I wish it balances both. The example that, right, it takes away a driver's job, but it offers scientists are more technological job, and the one who can manage that use it as a tool for its benefit, for his own benefit or her own benefit, right? Rather than just shunning it down, right? So it may take away jobs. I mean, it's very, very tough to predict. I mean, how the whole system is going to balance is still a unanswered question for many countries. Even now, even advanced countries are scratching their head to how to balance it. How will you even attach an, the example I gave earlier, you associate some money value to a product which is produced by human based on your skills and everything. Now everything is a machine, right? It produces a wonderful Mona Lisa painting. It produces a wonderful software program which was 5 years ago written by it. It produces even thesis. It even produces GPT produces presentations, right? Sales presentations. You don't have to put a lot of work in that and produces, right? So it's very tough to answer that question. Hopefully it produces more jobs. We make use that as a tool. We use that as a tool. We make use of that benefits of AI, and people don't get into the destructive mode of the things, right? Even they're used in warships and things, right? Don't know how things will pan out, but in the long term, at least for software engineers, you have a narrow focus. Software engineers, these are the ways you have to learn in one or the other way, and maybe you need to sustain. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. You answered all my questions. I'm thankful to you, sir.
No problem. Anyone has any other questions? I think we overstepped the 30 minutes, but we had a lot of to discuss. So.
Sir, I'm Murgheshwari.
Yeah.
What are the impacts on the health sector based AI, sir?
Health sector?
Even in health sector, we use AI.
Healthcare.
What are the drawbacks of healthcare? What are the drawbacks of this, sir?
Using AI, right? Okay. So AI has to be cautiously applied in any technology, any industry for that matter. But in healthcare, you need to be more cautious, right? Because you are playing with human life, right? And people are careful. People know that a doctor may not take a call based on what the AI produces. You saw we briefly talked about 4 metrics, right? True positive, false negative, and true negative, right? We need to be very careful which score we should apply for which field and which problem. Okay, in some problems, true positive, maybe you should look for true positive results. But in case of healthcare industry, let's say he tries to identify cancer cell, right? False negatives, false positives are fine, but true negatives are still dangerous. Why I'm saying as a false negative is fine? Machine learning says it is true positive and true negatives are dangerous. Okay, because the machine learning says this is not a cancer, but this is really a cancer, right? That's going to be a big problem, right? It may go unnoticed, it may go unidentified, it may go undiagnosed, right? So the treatment, everything is dependent on how the machine learning produces, right? So those cases, people use the right metrics, to get the right interference from that. Even then, right? They are in the beginning stages. Oncologists, they are experts, right? So they use this as a technology and tool to decide something. Okay, so they use the right metrics, they use the right, and on top of that they apply their brain also. This is just a tool, right? Even the computers are just tool, and we apply our mind, and how best we are going to use that for our business world problems, right? So same way, healthcare also, they need to be it's a combination of the AI and the doctor's expertise. That's what healthcare industry are viewing already. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, one more question.
Mhm.
Sir, in health sector, UV lights are used, for laser treatment.
Uh-huh.
So it's harmful only. So is there any possible for replacing with AI?
No, AI
Without
cannot
using-
actually, AI cannot replace the existing diagnostic techniques. You use ultraviolet rays, UV rays, or X-rays, which may be harmful. The scanning rays can be harmful. Yes. All it can do is you have this. Now you try to predict whether whatever report that the X-ray produces or the scan produces, and then you can take it forward. In some cases, when even the technology advances, instead of UV technology, you have a completely different technology. That may be possible. I mean, that's in future. But in current stage, AI cannot replace a scanning machine or ultraviolet rays or anything. At least it has not reached to that stage yet. Okay, where let's say human intervention can be avoided, it can be uh, uh, um, replaced with intelligent AI, intelligent software, or robots, right? That is still possible, but cannot replace the existing diagnostic tools or services. At least they are not reached that stage yet, as far as I know.
Thank you, sir.
Problem. Okay, so guys, you can, if you have any questions later, want to, any help on that, I mean, you can reach out on, I have LinkedIn. I mean, you can reach out on you can connect with me on a LinkedIn, and want to message something, you can do that. I will try to help you with any questions on this. LinkedIn ID is Magesh Kesavapillai. You can search Magesh Kesavapillai, and yeah, you can connect with me if you want. Jayanti, if you have, anyone has any questions?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you for sharing your ideas with our students. Students, do you have any other queries?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you for your presence, and I would like to call Mr. Shivashankaran from third year EC department for presenting the vote of thank you.
So, once again, good afternoon to everyone. As we come to the end of this estimated gathering, I would like to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks to all of those who have made this event a resounding success. We are truly grateful for the support and contributions that have made this occasion memorable. First and foremost, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to our esteemed chief guest, Mr.K.Magesh. Thank you for gracing us with your presence and sharing your valuable insights with us. Your journey and accomplishments have served as a great source of inspiration for all of us. I would like I would also like to extend our appreciation to the organizing committee and even volunteers who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure the smooth execution of this event. Your truly dedication and commitment are truly commendable. A special word of thanks goes to the faculty and alumni council members who have played a crucial role in the planning and coordination of this gathering. Your efforts in creating an atmosphere of learning and celebration have not gone unnoticed. We would also like to express our gratitude to the participants and attendees who have joined us today. Your presence had added vibrancy and energy to this occasion, and we are grateful for our enthusiastic participation. Last but not least, we would like to thank our sponsors and partners who have generously supported this event. Your contributions have been instrumental in making this gathering possible, and we are deeply grateful for your unwavering support. In conclusion, I would like to reiterate our heartfelt appreciation to everyone involved in making this event a grand success. Together, we have created a platform for learning, inspiration, and networking. Let us carry the knowledge and connections we have gained here today and use them to make a positive impact in our respective spheres. Thank you once again, and we hope to see you all in future events. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Hope this was useful. And yeah, I'm flashing my LinkedIn ID. So if you want to connect, if you have any questions later, feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, students.
Thank you, sir.